And we're back with the new intro. As I mentioned last time, I am a bit worried about, overusing that intro. So do let me know if it gets just a bit tedious here. In any event, welcome to the 11th episode of Mario Modding Highlights. Taking a look at the top 10 mods of August 1st through 10th of 2020. And there were about 30 mods released during this time period, most of which were content mods. The best of which we're just showing off today. As always, the down links and timestamps are just down below. So let's begin with our first highlight, which this time around is Saran, the Pearl of the Ascane Isles by Random Pal and various other authors. Arguably just the first of the really big Random Pal town overhaul mods, outside of the epic redo mods. The Pearl of the Ascane Isles just completely overhauls, expands, and transforms the city of Saran into just a truly unique settlement and location, combining Docks of Saran by Valley Lily, Saran Waterfront by Thonder, White Saran 2 MD Edition by Melkor Dog, and Random Pal's own concept art Lalu Balconies to just utterly remake Saran. To say the least, I would call this the ultimate overhaul and expansion mod released for Saran so far. It really makes the city a unique place, and it does a great job of merging just some of these older classics to achieve that unique effect. While most of the new additions here can, of course, be found down by the waterfront, with tons of new clutter, docks, and new buildings, including a new tavern. There's just a fair number of new details scattered about the upper district, here as well, with a new drinking well, a new look for the temple, and much more. But, we can't linger here, so I would just highly recommend checking this mod out for yourself. Next up, we're taking a look at the Merchants of Seraph Mora by Lucivar. An expansion to Seraph Mora. This mod adds a number of new shops to the capital of House Telvanni on Vardenfell, adding services that Seraph Mora was previously missing, like a bookshop, a tailor, a baker, a general traitor, a butcher, a barber, a haberdasher, and an enchantress. And I may have made just a few of those up, but anyway, there were some, general traders and, enchanters in Seraph Mora before, of course, but not as many as you'd expect for such an important city. And the lack of a bookshop for, a town just full of mages is such a glaring oversight as to be utterly absurd. But anyway, this also includes a watch post for the town guard and a small player home. Each of these new additions is just beautifully detailed with Lucivar's just signature talents at interior design, and there's even a new quest for you to, discover here. This is just a fantastic expansion to Seraph Mora that not only blends in well with the existing city, but is also just compatible with just pretty much every other major overhaul mod and, expansion to Seraph Mora. So, just no matter what you have installed, you can just, play this alongside it, and, that just makes it well worth checking out here. But going on, we next have a TA mod series, Red Vaughn's Humble Headgear by Shirazad. Now, this is just kind of a neat and somewhat overlooked mod that adds a new shop just south of Ebonheart, as you can see here, with a rather unique exterior. Going inside, though, you'll find that this new shop, appropriately called Humble Headgear, has a rather just a nice selection of new helms and helmets for you to purchase, and not only that, but there's also some new dialogue here, and even a little quest for you to do, if you so desire, cleaning out a cavern just beneath the shop here. There's quite a bit of content here, including about a dozen new helms and hats for you to buy, all based just on vanilla assets and textures, including a few different types of mushroom hats, and a really neat looking mud crab helm and a shark helmet, among other things. This is just a pretty underrated mod. I think it only has about 10 endorsements on the Nexus, and it is one that I really think deserves a bit more attention, and I would recommend checking it out. I mean, it has a lot of great content here, and it is more than worth your time to just, give it a go and play around with it. And, some of these helms are, again, just, really neat. Anyway, next up, we're taking a look at concept art Hlaalu Balconies by Random Pal. Also, Wally BB and R0. Not a large mod by any means, but, one that really just, enhances the Hlaalu architecture that you can find in Balmorra and Seran. This mod replaces the balconies of some of the buildings that you can find along the Odai River and in the Labor District parts of Balmorra, with just new balconies based on the game's concept art, adding in these just really nice looking staircases that really blend in well and, give a scenic enhancement to the city here. And not every balcony or staircase has been replaced, just a few, to add a bit of variety to the Hlaalu architecture. And it should be noted that this mod has been merged into, some of the larger mods out there. But either way, it's just a really nice looking little addition just on its own. Moving on, we're taking a look at Red Mountain Reborn by Transmaster and Anot. And now, this is basically just a standalone copy of Red Mountain from Martin Duberv, which Anot has just sort of cut out and patched with the vanilla game, making it possible to add this impressively redesigned and overhauled Red Mountain to your game here, without having to, worry about the countless conflicts of Martin Duberv itself. And basically, this makes Red Mountain into an actual proper volcano, with a bowl-shaped top, and of course, it makes Red Mountain just significantly larger and taller. So, climbing up to the top is it's going to be a bit of an actual feat. There's also overhauls of the various Dune ruins that you'll find around Red Mountain, and this includes compatibility patches for pretty much every popular mod that adds onto Red Mountain here, like Darknut's Greater Dune Ruins and Ghostgate Fortress. If you like Martin Duberv's Red Mountain, but want to experience it without worrying about mod conflicts, this is just a great mod to add in here. But going on, we next have a Silt Strider by the Inwas and Mushrooms team. This is just a rather beautiful looking Silt Strider replacer that primarily replaces the Silt Strider model, including a more caravan-style design with, cargo hanging off the sides and just a proper covered space for the driver, with lanterns to guide the Silt Strider during, nighttime travel. This also includes new, optional high-resolution textures with bump mapping, and there's a few different options here, including new textures without the bump mapping effects if, that's what you prefer, and more vanilla-style options, but anyway, this is just a pretty fantastic replacer that it really fits in well with the game's aesthetic, and I'd highly recommend it. Next up, though, we're taking a look at leggings for Beast Races by Adol, Brujo Loco Edition by Adol and Brujo Loco. A bit of an older mod, leggings for Beast Races is, it's a mod that allows players to convert their boots for any of the armor sets in Vanilla Morrowind, Tribunal, or Blood Moon into leggings that a Khajiit or Argonian can wear, with a new underground shop in Balmorra. Simply place your boots into one of the 3 chests here, and they'll just automatically be converted to leggings that you can wear, instead of boots. This is just a clever way of getting around the vanilla game limitations for, beast races that couldn't wear boots before. And, these leggings are certainly a bit stylish. But anyway, this modern re-release merely goes the extra mile to, merge all the original leggings mods, clean them, and include compatibility patches for popular mods like Seed of Power and Epic More Redo. If you're playing as a Beast Race character, you may want to just, give this mod a try. But anyway, our next highlight is Cephalopod Armor Retexture, High-Res Armor Style by C3PA, a replacer for the Resday Revival mod series, Better Telvanni Cephalopod Armor. This replaces the textures for the armor set in the original mod, using intelligent textures as a base and high-res armor outlander styles as a guide. The biggest change here is the coloring of the armor, since in the original mod, only the pauldrons and helm were this, purplish hue. And now the entire armor set has just a more consistent purplish color scheme that looks really quite nice and somewhat appropriate for the, the alien lands of Morrowind. There's also a high-resolution replacer for the Telvanni robes included in the original mod. That's just absolutely stunning, and if you're using a better Telvanni Cephalopod armor, you may just want to, check this mod out. Coming up, we have a lightweight, a concept art Nissus by Random Pal and the Heart of the Velothi team. And, this is, basically exactly what the name of the mod implies. It's a lightweight alternative to the Heart of the Velothi Nissus, but with some elements from Nissus Expanded by Zobator and Cragor, and Cavern Tavin by Gavrilo93 just merged in here. A lot of the major additions found in Heart of the Velothi are still here, like, the additions to the temple, the replacement of some Raydoran buildings with Velothi buildings, a couple of huts, and the arm just hanging underneath the, the arch into town. But this does away with a lot of the major landscape edits, making for just a more vanilla-sized Nissus with better mod support. This is basically, a nice alternative for those who enjoyed some aspects of the original mod, but wanted something with better performance and less, mod conflicts. But anyway, finally, we're taking a look at TA Mod Series, Asher Tall's Ashlander Articles by Shirazad. And now, this mod adds a new ship to the harbor in Saran, which you'll notice is, in fact, compatible with the Pearl of the Ascane Isles. That mod that we just showcased, and you may also note that this is a rather unique looking vessel, home to a new merchant, Asher Tall, who has some new, Ashlander style items to sell, and also some new dialogue. There's 3 new weapons, 3 new helmets, and a shield for you to check out here, including a chitin spike, a dust mask, a new type of spear, and a pretty neat looking ornate, mask here. This is just a pretty neat little mod, and unlike the other mod in this same series, adds some pretty unique stuff to the game. If you're looking for just, more of this kind of thing, it's definitely worth checking out here. But anyway, that's all we have for today, so thanks for watching, stay safe, happy modding, and I'll see you all next time.